101, 102, 103. 152, 154.
We'll catch 'em all!
Very good! Go, go, go!
The chase is on!
Yeah, yeah! Besserer Zweifel!
El Herzer.
Greetings. What is it?
Yes. Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Brach! Scheiß! In! Zwei!
Elven Blarney.
Off to the front yet again.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
Got sand or plenty in them.
It's not too late to walk away.
Wanna know why I got my scar? Quiet! The Commissar will hear. Scheiß! In Trade!
Off to the front yet again.
Niamh needed but set one foot into the Ruwode to know something was amiss. The sickening stench of rot hung in the air. Flies swarmed in thick clouds, and crows cawed in a deafening cacophony. What had caused this murder to amass? Well, Niamh's scouts soon found out,
Your Majesty,
reported a certain Sergeant Nadamur.
not far from here, past the bend, there's a cutting and it's full of bodies. Our boys and the Blackclads alike. Bodies mutilated, horribly so, guts ripped open, entrails strewn about, heads locked. Somewhere, like
Yes?
branches embrace and grip them tight, as if the trees, they strangled them.
Hearing this, the Queen ordered a halt to their march. They would go no further, she thought, till they knew what had killed those men. Luckily, witnesses were soon found. A haggard band of resin burners emerged from a nearby dugout, black with dirt, covered in dried blood.
my lady.
their eldest stammered.
Blackins came and started felling the wood. Forced folk to chop away, to make way for a town. Whole camp. Blackclads and loggers alike. Done in one night. No time even to draw their weapons. We was lucky. Found pits to hide in. Just heard of something huffed and puffed while talking to the trees, no less.
Reynard ordered medics to tend to the tar-makers, then turned to Meave.
We cannot wash our hands of this, Your Grace. The Nilfgaardians awoke the monster, yes, but it kills Rivians just as readily.
Reynard speaks words of wisdom and honor, Your Grace.
Ake interjected.
'Tis our duty to slay the beast, no matter the cost in our own blood.
Meave stood at the edge of the clearing and pricked her ears. The Ruwode echoed with the cawing of crows, which seemed to perch on its every twig. She also heard the howling of wolves and a hollow rattling, as if branches whipped in the wind, though the day was fair and still.
That Geralt. He just had to desert me.
The Queen removed her cloak to avoid snags and trundled toward the heart of the wood. Her soldiers followed, clutching cocked crossbows to sweaty cheeks.
Thank ye, your man. Them black.
This could hurt.
I think that's the wrong battle. That's not the mission I was looking for, right? No, I was not looking for these. Okay. I thought that it didn't have to do with my quest. Where's the quest I need to do then? Oh, it's on the other side. It's all over there. Okay. Oh well. Alright, let's go look at the other one. The other one's actually the quest, not the side battle that does nothing. Here it is. Should be around here, right? Aha! It's a Leshen. Okay, I like the Leshen. I like the Leshen fight in Witcher 3, honestly.
Deep in the wood, it grew cool, with a thin fog filling the air. Neve pushed past a large branch of hazel and froze. Before her stood a tall figure, nearly human in form, save the moss-covered deer skull in place of its head. Empty eye sockets burning with naked flame, the monstrosity hurled itself at Meve with a roar.
Rally to me!
Cried Meve, raising her shield.
Everyone! Anyone! To me! Be wary. We know not what this thing can do.
Oh shit, okay, how am I gonna do this?
You mad? Don't shake that!
Fascinating specimen. I must study it once we're finished.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
We'll catch 'em all!
Everything all right?
What you looking at?
Believe it's dead, whatever that means for such a thing.
Attacked from all sides, the monster teetered and swayed, fighting off their blows with ever greater difficulty. Finally, it fell to the ground and fell apart, like an undone bundle of twigs. In disbelief, Neve towed the pile of dried branches and scraps of bark. She saw no blood, no entrails, as if no monster had ever stood there, as if it had all been a dream.
We return to the road.
Neve said, crushing the beast's deer-like skull under her heel.
Ah, and Reynard, I've a request.
Yes, Your Grace?
Once we regain the realm and return to the capital, remind me to issue an edict. No one is to enter these woods, not to log nor even to gather brush. Just in case.
Those dwelling near the Ruwode heaved a sigh of relief, and the Lyrians returned to fighting an invader who, after what they'd faced in those woods, no longer seemed so frightening.
is just...
Meve arrived at the walls of Gradobor, famed for fine rugs and woven tapestries. The city's artisans had been at work, no doubt pressed by the Nilfgaardians, for atop the tallest spire, that of the town hall, flapped a lustrous ebony flag, a sun of golden threads at its center. So vast was the banner, Gascon whistled in admiration.
Gotta admit, the Blackclads certainly have panache.
And a vast and powerful army, I'd remind you.
Reynard interjected.
Arbalists line the walls. That stench in the air, hot tar. And our scouts claim the Blackclads stand armed to the hilt with the best Mahakam has to offer. Victory's not likely to come cheap, I fear.
No cost is too high,
said Meve, a hardness in her voice.
Reynard, Gascon, ready our men to attack.
The Lyrians needed no more encouragement. Since arriving, they had reveled in anticipation of taking the city, then ripping the banner from its spire.
It will be difficult, Your Grace. The walls are strong.
Order! Yeah, yeah!
The gate! Someone's opening the gate! Forward, march!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Your life is mine now!
Water as a poison.
In the truth!
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Yes.
Blood washes away all shame!
Go on, Enkazel!
Discipline. That's what you folk lack.
Egroto dum anime est, spes est.
Farmaga!
It's not too late to walk away.
Victory, Your Grace! The city is ours!
The battle for Gradobor was a hard fight, though not quite as hard as most had thought it might be. During the assault, at its critical juncture, a blow fell from the blue. The unlikely heroes, merchants and burghers brought together by the city's guilds. A wave of them, all riled, swarmed the blackclads at the gates and opened them wide to let Lyria in.
Onward! Follow me!
As fighting died down around the city, Neve rode for the town hall on a personal quest. Nilfgaard's vast, garish banner rippled overhead. With its halyard cut, it plunged like a great black bird, stricken. It was the last any would see of the golden sun over Gradobor.
3 cheers! Hip, hip,
The Lyrians were victorious, though not without aid. Neve met with the merchants who had roused the townsfolk, inspired them to rise up and fight.
Many of my soldiers, dozens, perhaps hundreds, owe you their lives today.
Said the Queen.
For that, I am deeply grateful. No, deeply indebted. Should you know a way I might repay the debt, don't for a moment hesitate to ask.
The merchants exchanged glances, nodded, grunted, agreed with each other without uttering a word. Then one, a clothfuller, his moustache most robust, stepped forth, bowed low, and spoke for them all.
Your Majesty, The invaders brought laws. Laws what don't agree with customs we've long held. Non-humans they forced us to accept. Let them join our guilds, sit on the city council. It's right ridiculous it is. These treacherous dwarves, why, they've been on their side from the start, so it's no wonder. But, well, the Nilfgaardian reforms, we'd like you to revoke them. Non-humans must know their place.
An awkward silence ensued. All turned their eyes to the Queen, awaiting her response.
Your city.
Meve began slowly after a pause.
Your rules. So be it. I hereby strike down all Nilfgaard's reforms.
The townsmen grasped each other's shoulders and vigorously shook hands, toothy grins spreading upon all their faces. Yet when they asked the Queen to stay and feast, she politely but firmly declined. Her army left Gradabor that very day. She rode at its fore, angry and silent.
I know.
Meve finally blurted to Reynard, her eyes still facing forward.
I know I granted a wicked request, but I can't hope to easily end hate, distrust, wipe away years of bloodshed. Not with one decree. To force those tradesmen to accept non-humans, allow them into their guilds, would have changed nothing. Do you understand, Reynard?
Alas, she could not tell, for Reynard held his tongue.
Rivia for Rivians. Dwarves to the mountains. Elves to the forests. Halflings to their... halfling holes. Dwarves don't... Rivia for Rivia. Dwarves don't... Dwarves are good to die for Rivia, but nae to live in it, eh? Dwarves are good to die for Rivia.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
I don't want that. Let's try to continue the main quest, maybe. Who's putting all this propaganda, seriously?
As the Lyrians passed a cemetery, marching along its ivy-covered wall, they heard mourners wailing pitifully to a priestess's moving song. The soldiers dutifully lowered their heads. Their minds sought out fallen comrades and kin, and they wondered whom else the war would yet claim.
Listen,
said Gascon, stirring Meve from her own meditation.
I think I'll veer off for a bit.
What for? To offer your condolences?
In a manner of speaking. But just go on. I'll rejoin you soon.
Meve nodded in agreement, then made as if to ride on. Yet Gascon had hardly entered the cemetery when the Queen turned and followed. Gascon quickly realized he was not alone.
Oh, Meve. Had I been plotting to do you no good, I'd not have announced I was sneaking off to do it.
What do you mean?
Come now, Meve, don't play the fool. You don't trust me, so you followed. Probably thought I'd commune with Epdahi in some crypt. Nay, better, the conclave of mages. Well, rest assured then. For if I truly had something I wanted to conceal, I dare say you'd not have noticed me slip off.
If I truly suspected something nefarious, I'd have dispatched my scouts, not followed you alone.
Which begs the question, why'd you follow? Why are you here? Why have you come?
Because you've not been yourself. You've been acting strangely.
And that gives you the right to spy on me?
Gascon, I've grown used to you bending the rules of decorum, but now you overstep, sir. You overstep.
Oh, will you have me flogged?
Hold your tongue, sir, or I shall indeed. Splendid. Now tell me why you've come here.
If you absolutely must know, then follow me.
Gascon led Meve through the ruins of a mausoleum, past its decapitated statues, past ancient gravestones effaced, past sarcophagi smashed to pieces.
Whose is it? Could it be...
Yes, Meve. My family's vault. The Brossards.
The Brossards? Wait. The Brossards?
The very same. Traitors who in 1258 revolted against King Reginald, your late husband. The earth lie lightly upon him. An error, most certainly. We paid dearly for it. Reginald had no mercy, decimated the family. As you can see, didn't even spare the dead. I was outside, away from the house. It is the only reason I survived. I was 8 at the time, stripped of title and home. Well, I'm sure you can guess the rest. Frankly, do my damnedest not to think on it. But the wall, the cemetery, seeing them awoke all the old demons.
Your crest. I seem to recall a pointer. The Duke of Dogs. Now I understand. The Brossard's trial I remember well. Reginald was angry. He prodded and pushed. Too far. The sentence was cruel, spiteful. I felt it all, but said nothing. I'm so very, very sorry, Gascon.
Water under the bridge. And the past's a thing none of us can change.
The past, no. But the present? I could rebuild your family's tomb. All deserve to rest in peace.
Maeve, the war nears its end days now, and you'll have more urgent expenses.
So I shall pay for this now. I'm grateful, Gascon, and indebted, vastly. Let me do this. Let me pay my debt in part, at least.
I thank you.
Gascon remained silent the rest of the day. When the force halted for the night, he sat secluded in his tent. But by the morn, he was his witty, mirthful self again. His family's final resting place would be returned to its former glory. This he knew, and it seemed to lift a weight from his mind. He could now reconcile with his family's tragic past.
Good Mother, grant him eternal peace.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
The Devil's Tower. We draw near, your grace.
No sign of Willem yet, far as I can see.
Unsurprising. Prompt he never was.
Willem, we're here for you. Get ready, Willem. You better
The Queen
change your
had
mind.
chosen to meet Willem at Devil's Tower, and not without purpose. The structure stood on an isle, so no foe could approach without first exposing themselves on a narrow bridge. The isle had little vegetation midst which to conceal a large force. A small unit could evade detection. Altogether, not much to fear.
No escorts were your terms,
Began Gascon, with a hint of mischief.
but better safe than sorry, I always say.
What are you suggesting?
Yours truly and 4 chaps behind the walls. Give a signal, any signal, and we'll leap to your side.
Meve struggled with her conscience. There was no honor in Gascon's plan, but prudence, certainly. In the end, she nodded in agreement, though not without compunction. Willem arrived soon after, the heavily armored cavalry he had in tow clearly there to boost his courage. He left them at the foot of the bridge and rode across alone. A stiff wind from the river nearly made off with his ermine fur cloak. Willem and the mother who'd borne him stood face to face. They gazed into each other's eyes, waiting to see who would look away first. When neither did, Meve broke the silence.
Time flies, and I've a kingdom to liberate. No need to drag this out. What's this about? Tell me.
I thought my messenger already did.
Oh, he did. And how? Willem I wishes to arrange a truce. Only, Willem I is in no position to parley on an equal footing. Willem I can, at most, offer his unconditional surrender, because Willem I's losing this war.
Yes, Mother, I am. And I see that by losing I've at last made you content.
Gonna be one.
Willem, we do not meet as mother and son. We meet only as leaders of two armies at war.
Can you separate the two? Truly?
I must. If only not to lose my mind.
I see. Then let us parley. I'm losing, you say. And you're right. But I haven't lost yet. And have no intention to surrender. I am ready, however, to renounce my fealty to the Empire and pledge my forces to you. As long as you fulfill my conditions.
Okay, however, to renounce my fealty to the Empire and pledge my forces to you.
Let me hear them.
First, you will not rescind the reforms I've authorized already. Any of them. Second, you will guarantee both my safety and that of my advisors. Third, I shall remain your heir, and next in line for the throne.
Impudent child. Insolent beyond all measure.
Well, I had to try. Goodbye, Mother. And may you...
Hold. I didn't say I reject them.
It's come my turn to listen.
You're impertinent, Willem. As you should be. Any future king must be certain of himself and his judgments. Rely on none but himself.
Thank you. I never suspected...
I'm not done. Time now you heard my conditions. You shall remove crown and royal cloak. You shall labour from dawn till dusk. And you shall fight at the fore in every battle. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes, Your Majesty.
It's settled then. Now the road beckons.
Willem bowed, turned, and walked away. Meve followed, still angry, though she could not stifle a smile. Soon thereafter, Meve's army set out towards Rivia Castle. It would not be long now before the decisive battle.
Got a new card.
How do you fare, my son? My advisors, have you met them?
I certainly tried. But they've no wish to speak with me. Begin to mumble when I draw near. Even the ridiculously reverent Count Reynard.
Well, suspicion must still grip their minds. And for good reason, you must admit.
Yes. I've got a lot of work ahead of me, that's plain to see.
And you shall get to it straight away. As soon as we've spoken. General at Dahi. You must tell me more about him. I think it wise to know one's foes.
Actually, Mother, he reminds me of you, in many ways.
Truly? You're serious?
Mm-hmm. He's proud, confident, and positively loathes compromise.
I'll take that as a compliment. But do we differ in any way? I mean, besides the beard.
Contempt. He behaves as though he sees in us a different, lower race, the way some elves do. All the North he treats as a wilderness to be tamed, to be broken.
I saw this in Edirn. I know what you speak of. But I won't allow him to do anything of the sort.
Mother, I know Nilfgaard has not defeated you in battle. I know you've gone from one victory to the next. But I beg you, don't underestimate him. He's prepared to do anything, literally, to win.
Your reforms? Tell me about them. You insist that I not repeal them. They must be a source of pride.
Mother, why must you mock me? If you wish, I shall tell you of my decrees, gladly so. Yet not to hear you scoff them and ridicule me.
If there's any merit to them, you've naught to fear. Now tell me.
I began by clarifying key aspects of the rights of spoil and staple.
Meve listened intently and with rising interest. With her son's every word, her skepticism waned, giving way to swelling pride.
And thence my decision to revoke Sparless trade privileges. You stand quiet, Mother. Awfully so.
There are few things I enjoy less than admitting I was wrong. We'll go over it all again, Willem, in detail, when peace comes, at a meeting of the Council of Peers. I wanted to thank you.
But whatever for?
For your courage in believing we could reconcile. For extending a hand and helping all this fall into place. I wouldn't have done so. Ever. I would have fought it to the bitter end.
Mother, I understand.
If we hadn't, well, what might have happened? I don't even want to think about it.
Then don't, please. Let's just leave this all behind us. It's the past.
We shall speak later, my son.
Your Grace,
said Reynard, saluting and clicking his heels.
peasants from the Scala region have arrived at camp. Supplicants, wishing to deliver a plea to your person.
Meve sighed. Supplicants, trials, audiences. All aspects of queendom she did not miss.
Very well. Bring them here.
She replied.
And instruct them to be brief, with no digressions.
The band of commoners was led by a sturdily built beekeeper dubbed Ethelred, son of Theobald. Finding himself in the Queen's presence, he fell to his knees and waved his arms in his best impression of proper etiquette.
Oh, my lady, the Queen, your gracious mightiness, take pity on us tillers and toilers. Wars all around, leaving us but scraps to live off, belly that, to be honest. So we beg you, don't do it. Don't raise the levies. We can't pay more than...
What?
Meve interrupted.
What the devils are you talking about?
What? Your decree? One they nailed to our notice board.
The peasant said, sheepishly pulling out a parchment and pointing to the relevant paragraph with his rough finger.
We, Queen Meve, do hereby proclaim that if our throne we shall recover, the tallage, murage, and pavage we shall raise threefold. The expense...
Meve and Reynard exchanged astonished glances. They had issued no such decree. Yet the document bore her signature and seal.
Willem, did you have a hand in this?
No, Mother.
The prince said, shaking his head.
We were at odds, true, but never would have forged your name.
Then who fabricated this decree?
The Nilfgaardians.
The Queen replied without hesitation.
They have access to my seal, to my scribes. They wish to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, turn my folk against me. And they are liars without any honor.
The Queen tore the falsified document to shreds. Knowing this would solve nothing, she had to find the printers churning out these fakeries and end their run.
New orders? No? Ah.
Oi, Meavy!
cried Gascon, as usual paying no heed to courtly etiquette.
Come here a minute.
Would it hurt so terribly to occasionally address me by Your Grace or Your Majesty?
Didn't want to be petty, but since you bring it up, you've never once addressed me as the Duke of Dogs.
Meve sighed, rolling her eyes.
Get on with it.
My lads jumped one of the Blackclad's transports. Guess what they were hauling?
Gascon handed Meve a pot filled to the brim with a thick, dark fluid.
Paint?
Close. Printer's ink. Same tone used in those phony decrees.
Meve spun on her heel, put a hand to her mouth, and yelled,
Reynard! Send scouts to comb the area!
Her soldiers returned a few hours later with good news. They were able to find a Nilfgaardian printer's workshop hidden in an abandoned barn. It was guarded by a division of elite infantry.
Right, so?
Gascon thumbed the edge of his blade.
Shall we stop the presses?
Time for the Nilfgaardians to publish a retraction.
Spoke the Queen as she drew her sword.
Signed with their own blood. Follow me!
The Lyrians did not need to be told twice. Their Queen's honor, her good name, that was a cause well worth fighting for.
It's her! Yes, you fool her! Sound the alarm! Larum! Ow! Your life is mine now.
Erigloa!
Wise choice.
Death is only the beginning! Eddard Fane!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Throw and countdown!
get your kneecaps broken!
Quiet! The Commissar will hear. Brach! Scheiß! In! Zwei!
Off to the front yet again.
We must trust each other. Quiet, or the Commissar will hear. Brach! Scheiß! In! Zwei!
Arbalist at your command.
They weren't expecting us. Seems they believed their own blarney.
The Nilfgaardians fought fiercely, led by a seasoned covert agent. Seeing he would soon fall into enemy hands, he put a knife to his throat and, in a quick slash, sent blood pouring over paper and still wet ink. Reynard leapt towards him, trying to stanch the red tide. But it was too late, and the spy's secrets perished with his last gargled breath. Meve picked up a freshly printed pamphlet. The document listed her many crimes and misdeeds, the true and the manufactured alike. Above the main body of the text, an etching depicted her, well, in a very unflattering manner.
How about a taste of their own medicine?
Asked Gascon, piecing blocks of type into a scathingly foul phrase.
Me and the lads will scratch out a couplet about Epdahi, spread it around the countryside, give the folk a hearty laugh at those tossers' expense.
War should be fought by the sword,
said Meve.
not by lies and slander. Remember, Gascon, we cannot stoop to their level.
The Queen commanded her Lyrians to destroy the presses. Soon, reams of paper went up in flames, and cracked blocks of type were trampled into the ink-stained mud.
puzzle thing.
Rivia will never die so long as we are alive. Nilfgaard will not spit it, lady. Rivia will Rivia will...
These lands, they look familiar to you?
Naturally, Your Grace. They're the venerable Count Caldwell's.
War, death, chaos. Everywhere but here. This land's positively pastoral.
The traitorous Caldwell family's residence loomed into view. Against the horizon, it looked suitably sinister. Yet the manor had changed since Meve last saw it. 2 new wings, ornate towers, a grand colonnade. And the windows now glistened with stained glass, the gilded hue of imperial suns.
We must pay them a visit.
Seethed the Queen. The great double doors opened with an echoing thud. Just inside them stood the heir to the estate, Dragomir, his wife and 3 children by his side, and Helena, the treacherous count's widow. Sliding the cap from his head, thus giving proof of the family's hereditary baldness, Dragomir knelt down upon one knee.
Your Grace, my father's betrayal stands beyond doubt and exoneration.
The young Caldwell said flawlessly, and in a single breath, as if he'd practiced a dozen times.
And his death at your hands was most well deserved. I beseech you to lay your trust in Prince Willem. He'll confirm I knew naught of my father's plans. I humbly ask that you not punish me for his sins. Allow me to stay on my ancestral lands, to serve faithfully as your loyal subject.
I believe not a word slithering out of his mouth,
whispered Reynard.
The first chance he gets to stab you in the back, he will take.
I don't know what to choose here. I don't know what to choose.
Meve narrowed her eyes and gazed at Dragomir. Large drops of sweat dripped from his brow.
You may stay,
said the Queen, finally breaking the silence.
on 2 conditions. Firstly, you will make a considerable donation toward the war effort. Then field an infantry regiment, fully outfitted, Under my command.
Naturally, Your Grace. And the other?
In one swift motion, Meve snatched a crossbow from a soldier, put it to her cheek, and loosed. Caldwell the Younger screamed bloody murder as he threw up his arms to shield his face. The bolt hissed by and struck the center of a golden sun, shattering one of the stained glass windows.
Redecorate,
said the Queen flatly. She then mounted up and sped off, earnestly hoping she'd not come to regret her generosity.
I shall replace the glazing in the windows to bear Rivian diamonds. A glazier I've already sent for. My father was wrong about you, and even more wrong about Nilfgaard. I shan't let you down, Your Majesty. I shall stand by your side until victory's achieved. Again, many thanks, Your Grace. And this, may it serve as proof of my loyalty. I shall replace the glazing in the... I shan't let you down, Your Majesty. I shall stand by your side until victory's achieved.
Woo! Oh, there's a werewolf down there. Bye, werewolf. Goodbye. Hello. Just give us your camp, please. Okay? I'm gonna ask you nicely to leave your camp, then I can just take it. So just give me your camp, thank you very much. Yay! Okay. Let's see. I wonder what other main quests I'll have to do after this. Let's get some loot. Get all the loot. Okay, over here. I think there's... Oh, I think it's around here, yeah. There's a rock or something here that I need to get. That's right there, okay. Find a way to get there. We have to walk around. Alright, so well, I guess we'll stop here. And next time we'll go to Ravenloft. Oh, there's loot over there, hidden by the river.